What's up, everyone? My name's Karissa. I'm the Standing Blonde. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be riveting this ZAMP solar system. Over here, I'm going to walk over to the Airstream we're working on, and we're going to rivet it to the black tank right here. And I'm going to show you how to do that and get.
What on earth? What are you even telling people? This is totally wrong.
Teaching them how to restore an Airstream.
Well, you say it was your channel?
Yeah.
What?
Who are you?
I'm Ian. This is my. What are you doing?
Oh.
What's going on, everybody? It is Ian here with Miller Garage, my channel.
My bad.
But we have an amazing guest today. This is Karissa, as she said, the only correct thing she just said there. And she flew in all the way from Georgia to join us today. And what are we doing?
We're working on electrical.
Yes.
And going through the whole process and learning how everything works.
Yep. So this is the thing you guys have been asking and asking.
Me too. I've been asking.
Everybody is asking about is Airstream electrical. So we are going to discuss that today. We're not going to go into 100% detail. And part of the reason is the reason that she's actually here is we are creating, and I've talked about this a little bit, but we're creating a complete online course for Airstream renovations. And we are shooting the electrical and the plumbing segments while she's here. We've already done several other things. We've done like the subfloor replacement module and panel replacement and stuff. So
and these are chocked full of information.
Yeah.
Like every aspect of it. You'll have all your answers, all your questions answered by the time you finish watching all of those. It's really cool.
So yeah, but we are putting a ton of work into it. It's amazing. Like the subfloor one, we literally have 3.5 days worth of footage. Like we filmed every second of it. I don't think we missed like anything. The cameras were constantly rolling. So immense amount of editing for me, but it is going to be an incredible resource for you guys. And I cannot wait to make this available to everybody. We got it coming out in probably, like my goal is by the end of July for at least the website to launch with, I think probably 5 courses will be on it to begin with, and then we'll be continually adding stuff, and that's going to be the great thing is that we're going to be always adding to it.
And I don't think there's like no other resource like that.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, there's some other YouTube channels. I mean, obviously, like what we're giving out on our YouTube, and also go follow her because she puts out a lot of great information on her Instagram. She's pretty awesome and really, really rocking it on the Airstream stuff. So definitely check that out. But yeah, so it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited. But we're going to dive into electrical. Like I said, we're going to talk about kind of like a 30,000 view of it. So we're going to go over stuff like 30 versus 50 amp. We're going to talk about the essentially the 3 different systems that all play together within the Airstream electrical, and then show you guys a little bit about how we design systems, as well as just kind of a quick little bit about installing and all of that kind of stuff. Again, this is way too much information to give you everything on YouTube, and that's why we're developing the course, because that's what makes the most sense in my mind. So be looking forward to that coming out soon. So we're gonna go hop into this trailer over here and show you guys some stuff and get to it.
Let's go.
Okay, so here we are in the trailer, and this is a 31 foot, I think it's like a 1976. I'm not 100% sure because I can't always remember. We have so many of them.
It's not like you have 15 to keep track.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so it's rough. And so we're going to be talking about electric, and this is electric. That sounded weird.
Electrical.
Yeah, that sounds bad. And we are going to be talking about electrical. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do the explaining though, because after earlier, no, whatever. We joke. She's awesome. She knows a ton. She's gonna be teaching me about woodworking and all that good stuff because she is a master. Just the absolute
the best there ever has been.
Yes.
And never will be.
In all of history. Yes. So slight exaggeration, but so So I want to kind of give you guys just a little bit of an insight into my process, how I approach electrical, and kind of talk about, like I said, just a higher level view. We're going to be talking about 30 amp and 50 amp, and then showing you guys inside here. We've already ran most of the wires, so I'm going to just kind of walk you through what we've done, how I do it, and hopefully this will help you guys approach your project a little bit with a little bit more confidence. Okay, so I generally will draw out a wiring schematic. This one has, well, we kind of walked on, I don't know how well you can see this, but we definitely walked on it a little bit, so it's kind of hard to tell. But basically I will draw out the trailer and I'll, I'll draw the whole this is hard to can you hold that side? Perfect. And so I'll draw out the layout, and then I'll put all of the different components, all the different electrical components that we're going to put on there, and I will then subdivide it into the 110 volt and the 12 volt systems. And so they are different. Now, obviously, if you're completely new to this and this is like Greek to you, your 110 volt is going to be similar to like your residential outlet. So you plug in your hairdryer or your toaster, and that goes into a 110 volt outlet. And then your 12 volt is more of kind of like the RV side of things. And so a lot of your lighting, a lot of your RV specific appliances and fans and that kind of stuff is going to be your 12 volt. We're not going to get into the physics of the differences there and a lot of the details of like amperage and wattage and all that stuff. This is not that in-depth of video. There's just not time for that. So go get on the interwebs, Google that if you really want to know, because there's tons of people way smarter than me that can explain it to you. So we divide it into those two systems, and I will put all of the components, like all of the 12 volt components, I'll draw them on there and we'll mark them as such, and then all of the 110 volt components and our outlet locations I'll mark on there. Because the thing is, you want to make sure that you have a good plan for how you're going to do your electrical, so that whenever you install it, you don't miss anything or forget about anything. Because the last thing you want to do is put your skins up and then realize, oh crap, like we needed to run this wire here, because then you have to take it all down and you'll cry, and you just want to avoid that. So. Yeah. So that is a good first step, is to get a really good plan. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the difference between 30 amp and 50 amp. And this is a question that I get pretty regularly, and a lot of times like clients want to know, well, which one do I go with? And the best answer is whichever one is best for your application and your trailer design and everything that you're going to put in it. So the best way to basically, the simplest way to describe the difference between the two is like, imagine you have a 30-gallon bucket and a 50-gallon bucket. Your 50-gallon bucket just has more capacity. And it kind of is the same thing when it comes to your electrical systems. If you have a 30 amp system, you can only support so many components. So generally with a 30 amp, you're maxed out at 1 AC, whereas with a 50 amp, you can run 2 ACs because you have a lot more room or capacity, not only just in the number of circuit breakers, but also the amount of electricity that is flowing into your trailer. Because with a 50 amp system, it's actually a 220 volt outlet that's coming in, and then it splits and you have two separate legs of 110 volt. Whereas with 30 amp, you only have 110 volt coming in, and you just have one spot for 110 volt, and you have generally on this one, like we have 3 breakers, whereas this we have 6 that we can use. So you just have more capacity, and that's on the 110 volt side. When it comes to the 12 volt side, 30 versus 50 amp, there is no difference because that does not affect your 12 volt system at all. These are the Progressive Dynamics Intellipower boxes, and one of the big benefits of it is a pretty compact package, and this contains your 112 volt circuit breakers, it contains your 12 volt fuse block and everything, and then it also contains your charge controller and your converter. So that charges the battery, it maintains that, keeps it nice and healthy, and then it also converts your 110 volt down to run the 12 volt system. So that's why it's a big benefit. So then you don't have to source all of those components independently and wire them all together. So it's pretty good. You have any questions?
I think you covered everything.
I think you had a good one earlier about.
What if I'm using solar?
Yes.
Do I want a 50 amp of solar even if I have 2 ACs, or do I want to do a 30? Like what am I looking at if I want to also add solar?
Yeah, so that is a good question, because that actually it really will determine, what setup you want to go with. So a lot of times, whenever you're doing solar, if you go with an inverter, that oftentimes the inverters have a built-in charge controller and converter themselves. So whenever you're wiring it, basically the power comes in from your shore power, it goes through the converter, and then it comes into this box. And so you wouldn't even need to use one of these specifically because you don't need the charge control in the converter. So again, like some of the considerations are still based off of capacity, but you also need to consider like what size battery bank you want to have, how big of a inverter you want, because some of the bigger inverters are set up to run off of 50 amps. So like the Magnum 3000 watt charge controller inverter is designed to run off a 50 amp system versus 30 amp. So, and then there's a lot of like the smaller ones that will only work with a 30 amp. So whenever you're designing your system, you want to make sure that everything will work together, it's cohesive.
So it's still a matter of capacity, like what you need.
Yeah.
If you have the solar, but then you're looking at different parts to make the solar work with this.
Exactly, yeah.
And then typically with the 50 amp, those parts are more expensive.
Correct. Correct, yeah. Yeah, because like the Magnum inverter that's the 50 amp 3000 watt is about $3,000, whereas like a 3000 watt, Renogy or something like that is closer to like 1,000 to 1,200. So, the Magnum is pretty much the best that's out there. So, you get what you pay for, but, there definitely is a higher cost whenever you're going to 50 amp versus 30 amp. So, we're going to get a little bit into now kind of like how we do our wiring, how we organize everything, and how we run it. So I'm going to put these down. Okay guys, we got to take a brief intermission here and talk about something real quick. So we all have trailers that we need to tow, am I right?
Yes,
I mean, you have
so many.
like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Four.
have 4.
Four
Oh, that's
now.
right. Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
So I have a couple. And so you need something to tow it with. And I just recently got this F-250 Tremor Lariat Sport Edition.
So
and
jealous.
yeah,
It
it's pretty sweet. Well, we talked about how you can get one.
Yeah, I might need to. I might need to.
And how you guys can get one is you can go check out Planet Ford. I don't know if you can see that. Planet Ford 635. They are here in Dallas, but they will send you a truck anywhere. They have the inventory is a little bit low right now, so reach out to them. They can find something for you. They can get it ordered, any of that kind of stuff. It's hard to find trucks right now just with all the shortage. So you need to find a dealer that knows how to get what you need, and they are definitely that. They will take care of you, I promise. My good buddy Ian Wortham there, his info's below. Definitely hit him up. I promise you he will take care of you. You can get awesome finances, and you can financing, and you can also, if you want like any towing equipment, if you want wheels, tires, lift, any of that kind of stuff, they can actually roll it into your financing because they have an aftermarket team there at Rad Rides that will take care of you. Yeah, it really is pretty cool. So you can literally just go and get everything you need done, and it's all in one package. So definitely works out. So yeah.
Ian, you said?
Yeah, Ian Wortham. So be sure to check them out. We're gonna get back to the video. We're gonna talk to Karissa a little bit about her story, and then get back to the electrical. So stay tuned. All right, so as you met earlier, this is Karissa, the Sanding Blonde on Instagram. That's where she's primarily doing all of her stuff. So we're just gonna talk a little bit about like what she does, her journey, and this whole Airstream thing that she's getting into. And so yeah, so like where did you start? Just tell me a little bit about your background, or tell them.
Yeah.
I've heard most of the story.
Yeah. So I started a few years ago just refinishing furniture and repurposing it, and that kind of gave me some foundation with woodworking, and I got very bored of that quickly. So then I moved on to actually building furniture and fell in love with that entire process. And I've always been kind of obsessed with like finding old things and making them new again and giving them life again and like restoring them to their original glory, all of that. So I think just like anyone saw an Airstream on the road and was like, oh my gosh, that's so freaking cool. And then I found an Argosy that was for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and I got it for $600, which is bananas.
Wow.
And the intention was just to get it and then start working on it as like I had a weekend free, which is never, which is everyone's take on like starting to rent, like, and then they can't, and then they look for people like us, which is like great. Yeah. So then I think I mentioned to someone that I had it, and they had seen my work, and they wanted one, so they kind of just worked out a deal. It was my first one, and they trusted me enough to figure it out, and it took me a long time, and it was very difficult, but I did figure it out, and then I fell in love with it, and I was like, we're doing this for real. Let's go. So that's where we're at.
Yep, that's very cool. Yeah, like I can't remember when I started following you. It was probably at least a year ago, I think, and we just started interacting. I don't know who like reached out to who first, but
yeah, I think so. This is actually a funny story I haven't told you. So in the midst of going through my first renovation, I was looking at all your videos. Like I was like waiting for the next one, like watching all of them, and I think you did reach out to me first. And then I didn't put two and two together that you were Ian Miller from Miller Garage.
I think I reached out to you about the wiring harness maybe.
Yes.
First. Yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
But either way, we ended up on the phone, and as soon as I heard your voice, I was like, I'm talking to a celebrity. Hi.
Oh my gosh.
No, it just like it was like the first time I think I talked to someone that I met online after like watching their work, and it was like, this is so cool. It was just a small world and a cool moment. So yeah.
Apparently, I'm famous.
Famous.
I don't. It's weird how sometimes people will like want to take pictures with me and like come out and check out. It's strange. It's a weird reality.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm that big. I'm only like 5,000 subscribers. But you have more followers than I do, especially on Instagram. But, so go follow me on Instagram. I know who you are that aren't doing that. Not that I post all the time, but we're working on it. So, well, that's awesome. Yeah. So now you've gotten the bug. You're doing it, and so what's coming? What do you got going on? What's the future looking like?
So right now I'm just working in my garage, or excuse me, in my driveway, and I'm getting a whole shop built, 2,500 square foot shop, which isn't quite big enough, but it'll scratch the itch for now. I can get 2 or 3 Airstreams in there at a time. So I'm getting that done. So hopefully I'll just be able to pump out more projects and learn more and be able to do more, and hopefully then be able to teach too a little bit and share the wealth of information.
Yeah, we both kind of have that like desire in our lives to have, be able to equip people and share just what we've learned, because obviously like we don't have it all figured out by any means.
I do.
Oh right, I'm just kidding. So, well, clearly from the intro, no, and she's legit. She knows what she's doing. She is awesome at the carpentry, and I've been learning some stuff from her. So definitely like go check her out, follow her. We're gonna get back to working on stuff. We're actually shortly I gotta take her back to the airport. Unfortunately, she has a family and the whole life to get back to. She can't just stay here in Texas, but it should be obviously nice to have somebody that knows what they're doing. Not that my employees.
Oh.
That sounded really bad. That sounded horrible. Oh my God. Not what I meant. Somebody else, because my employees are amazing. They're awesome. They're after that they're probably plotting my death. But just an additional person that is kick-ass. So but we're gonna take her back to the airport, and then I'm gonna get back to electrical with you guys. We're gonna go over some more stuff, and hopefully you will learn what you need to learn, at least for the most part. And if you don't get it all from this, then definitely need to check out the course that we shot this week, because I mean, what are your...
I think so. Electrical was one of those things I couldn't even wrap my head around fully, let alone execute. And just hanging out with you for a whole day talking about it, I walked away. I talked to my husband last night, FaceTime him. I was like, I get it. Like it makes sense now. Like I can. I mean, there's still things I'm probably gonna learn. And
or just you're not gonna like necessarily remember every detail.
Right. And I probably need my work double checked for my first few. But I feel so much more confident heading into that part of the project for sure.
So yeah, definitely check that out, because of part of that, so that alone is reason to watch the course. So.
I literally just stand there the whole time.
Oh, yeah, good questions.
Yeah.
No, it was great. You helped. I mean, that was awesome.
Glad.
I really appreciate your help. So, yeah, but that should be, hopefully, depending on when you're watching this, that's going to be linked below to Airstream U, and so definitely check that out. We got a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be on there. It's going to be amazing, but we're going to get back to it, so stay tuned. All right, we're here. It is day 2 with Karissa joining us at Miller Garage, and we are continuing to discuss electrical. So we talked about like the 50 amp, 30 amp, the different boxes we use, and did that make sense to you?
It did.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good. It's always good to know that like I'm not.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working. The learning is working. All right, so we're gonna kind of go over how we do all of our interior wiring, how we run stuff, how I keep it organized, and all of that. So this is a mid-70s 31-foot trailer, and so a lot of our electrical, you know, the way that these ribs are, it's going to run through the roof of it, and you know that can be a benefit in that, you know, if you were to need to access something, you could remove just that center stripe of the skins to get to stuff. Again, in general, you know, most of your wires, once you install it and get the skins up, it's got to be done right because you're not turning back at that point. So, kind of the first thing I do is whenever it comes to like our diagram, we establish where our box is going to be. And in this particular trailer, it's up here in the front. It's going to be in the dinette, and so then everything is going to be coming out of there. So when you're doing that and considering that, you need to think, you know, like in the location, do you have places that you can run wires through? Because like right here by the windows, you know, you don't have space to really do that. So, you know, this wouldn't be a very good place to put your distribution box. So that's why we have it a little bit further forward. And so everything is coming up and it is spreading throughout the trailer. I generally keep things organized in that I have my 110 volt kind of generally bunched together, and then spiderweb, and then the 12 volt is bunched together, and then we have everything going throughout. As far as the actual wire type, I use the Anchor marine grade wire, and so like for the 110, I'm using the 4 wire 14 gauge, and then for the 12 volt, I'm using the 2 wire 16 gauge. So one of the benefits to that is that everything is stranded wire, so even the 110 is stranded, so it's not like Romex. And the benefit there is that, you know, over time, eventually, there's the possibility that the solid core Romex, with movement, it'll eventually stress that copper wire so much that it can break. It's not, I can't say it's like common, but it's just a possibility, and it's one thing that we take out of the equation by using the stranded marine grade wire. The other thing is that all of the jacketing and insulation on the marine grade is, it is rated to, I believe, like 105 degrees Celsius. So, you know, that's pretty hot. And obviously the skins, they get very hot in the sun. So this will help protect the wires from, you know, like the jacket melting or anything like that. And then you have, you know, grounding and shorts and all that kind of stuff, so that helps prevent that as well. So then as far as like having everything, you know, kept in place and held up there, we have these super fancy plastic clips that are adhesive backed, and then it'll just snap shut on the wire and holds it in there, so they're pretty darn fancy. And so we, you know, just put those enough places to hold everything, and we run our wires throughout to all the different locations. So this is probably one of the easier parts of the whole process, is just like running the wire throughout the trailer. So it's pretty fun. I don't know, I like it. I like the I like the look of just the wires and being all organized and all of that. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'm OCD or something. So as you can see, we have a lot of the interior skins up, and we're kind of moving on to that stage of the electrical where we're running stuff through the walls. You know, like for example, there's going to be a light switch here, and we're, you know, placing all of our outlets. So obviously this is really critical to know like your dimensions and where stuff's going to be, especially when it comes to like if something's going to go into a wall or into a cabinet or some interior furniture. So that's really critical to make sure that you have whenever you're actually putting your skins up and bringing your electrical through. And we kind of, you know, as we're going, we're just making sure that everything is where it needs to be, going back and double checking, and just making sure it's done right. Because, you know, obviously, once you rivet, you really can't go back and change anything. So you need to make sure that everything is really done right. And places where wires are coming through the wall, like here, we use these plastic grommets, and that just keeps the wire protected so it's not rubbing on the aluminum. And that's only for, you know, stuff that's coming through and it's going to be like in a cabinet, because this is going to be an outlet that is underneath the, it's going to be basically a pop-up on the countertop. And whenever we're just putting, like, say, an outlet directly in the wall, I use these shallow plastic boxes, electrical boxes, and you basically just cut the hole, slide it in, and screw it into the skin itself. Obviously there's no hole here, so, and then run the wires through and put the socket in there. So, and you can do the same thing with switches and everything. So, you know, there's not like necessarily code when it comes to RVs like there is a house, so you don't have to adhere to that and, you know, like attach it to a stud or whatever. But it is a good idea to use electrical boxes if you can. Again, if you can't, is what you would want to do is basically like wrap tape around the outlet itself, because there's some spots that it's really just kind of too tight to necessarily put something like this. So that is another option, but these are obviously going to be a little bit better protection, so it is a good idea. So another thing that I do whenever we get the skins up is just check our all of our wires for continuity. You can use like a voltmeter for that. You want to make sure that obviously you don't have you hadn't drilled into any wire or anything like that. So just to verify that everything's good before you fully button it all up, and then we'll install the box. And again, like, I know that this is probably, you know, you probably wanted step-by-step exactly how to do it, but the thing is, again, like on YouTube, it's just not really feasible for me to put that much time and effort into doing that. So that's why we've decided to do the course. And hopefully that will be launching soon, and so you guys can check out the electrical section there as well as everything else that's going to be on there. So I hope you guys enjoyed getting to meet and hear from Karissa, as well as to learn a little bit about electrical. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know what you think, what you want to learn more about, and we can be sure that we create content for both the YouTube channel as well as Airstream U. And be sure to follow us on Instagram as well as to follow Karissa, and we will see you next time.